For months, I've been shunning faith builds, saying, no, I want to do dexterity and intelligence. That's exactly what I wanted for my build. Well, after 3 months, I haven't used any intelligence, and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting tired of shocked. I want to shock some people. Give me that faith build. Welcome back, Citrus Crew, to another Elden Ring journal as I progress through Elden Ring in my first playthrough to try and kill everything that I come across. Not everything that I come across. I want to kill every boss with no summons. That is my pledge. And so far, we are now at 58 bosses slain. Last week, there were 50, so I had a very productive week killing 8 bosses. A lot of them were reruns, if you will, not too many uniques. And this past week, I hung out mostly in Mount Gelmir, as well as I discovered the lost city of Nocron. I think it was lost. But let's talk about the builds, because this is something, well, I guess it's a pretty big pillar of the Elden Ring community. Now, I'm just scratching the surface around my faith build. So last time, I had found this legendary sword. Some say it's legendary, others say it isn't. I don't know. But it forced me to basically respec, get rid of all my intelligence, and put it into faith. And I haven't regretted it because I haven't really been using intelligence. And after finishing the whole Hogwarts part of the game, I pretty much saw what all the intelligence spells could do. And the fact that they're all blue kind of makes me a little blue. I just had no appetite for it. Sure, having swords hovering above your head is cool. Being able to like throw a pebble and have a bubble shield and all these things are cool. But it just doesn't feel, hey Jay, it doesn't feel disappointed you're still alive. But with the faith builds, I've started to really look at other monsters and I go, how do I do that? And they go, faith. Oh, how do I do the fire? Faith. How do I shock people? Faith. And I was like, ah, shoot, I'm gonna have to go to faith, aren't I? So anyways, last week I respect to get enough faith. I have 20 faith, so I could do the whoosh whoosh with the sword and get all the white fire everywhere. Didn't like that either because it was a strength build weapon. So I abandoned that. I was like, whatever. Now, the last week when I was in the capital city, I was getting ganked everywhere by freaking soldiers, and then they would buff themselves up through lightning, so I really got a negative time with lightning. But this week, I finally got the lightning power of my own. Someone just kind of like reminded me, hey, go to the Pope Turtle and get yourself some spells. I'm like, that's a good idea. Let's go see what I can buy. So I don't have a lot of faith yet. I only have 20, but I was able to buy a fire spell, which lets me cure poison and Scarlet Rot, the thing I've been looking for weeks. I'm like, oh, I had it this whole time. So I already have something that cures poison, but now I can cure Scarlet Rot on top by just like burning myself. Fantastic. And the other thing was the lightning one, where you can apply lightning to your sword. And oh my God, I love this thing. First of all, it looks cool. Second of all, I get to use my sword. I don't have to like aim things. I just buff up my sword with this stuff. So if I can get like some fire on that sword and other stuff, I'm going to start experimenting more. I actually got to kill the first boss I got to kill once I learned that spell was the Bell-Bearing Hunter. If you remember, I got destroyed by this guy weeks ago. Now I'm coming back. I'm like between level 71, 76 throughout this gameplay. And I died, of course, again. But when I went super aggressive on him and I just went like whoosh, whoosh, do my backflip, and I also had my lightning sword on, yeah, he pretty much died before he could attack me. So the Bell-Bearing Hunter died. But let's rewind a little bit and share my story about Mount Gelmir, because the city, the capital city, is a big no-no for me. I don't want to go back in there. I lost my appetite for it. I heard from all of you that there's a lot of great things. There's bosses, there's stuff to find, there's a well that I'm supposed to fall into. And I hear you, but I needed to cleanse the palate a little bit. I needed to feel something else other than just despair. So I went out into the mountains. Let's go get lost in the mountains on a wilderness tour. And it turns out the mountain's name is Gelmir. I learned that there is a hero who was also named Gelmir. Some say the mountain was named after him, such as me. Some say the hero was named after the mountain, which I think is silly. So exploring the mountain, the first thing that caught me off guard is this trolling move where I saw a developer message and they're like, follow the stones. I was like, okay, here's a stone. Here's another little shiny stone. Here's a stone. And then I look over the ledge and I was like, look at all those shinies down there, until a familiar voice comes up. He's like, well, looky here. And then he just kicks me down. Frickin' patches. They just couldn't resist I thought we were done with this guy. We saw him in Limgrave. We punished him there, but here he is with his signature kick to the butt and sending you over the ledge. Now, to make it even more spicy, I got another Dark Souls 1 PTSD moment, because when I landed at the bottom, I was surrounded by basilisks. No! And if you guys were around when I was playing Dark Souls 1, I fell into that pit of basilisks in the sewers and got scarred. That thing terrified. The basilisks terrified me. The fact that they can like petrify you and kill you, Oh boy, that was my first experience of having a status ailment that can kill you if it builds up. So, whew, I was stressing when I saw those bosses. I was like, oh, I killed them all, I killed them all. Anyways, so down there, I came across a cave. It was called the Seedwater Cave. It was fairly, there was poison at the bottom, of course. Made my way to the bosses, which were 2 kindred rots. These were new bosses to me, but they're basically enemies in other cave systems. So being a bit aggressive on them, rolling through their attacks, I got through, killed them. Kept exploring the mountains, made it to some ruins, and here there was another Tibia Mariner. This one had a little bit more fight to him. He would summon this like massive skeleton and stuff, which was intimidating. He's always a good time to beat up in his boat, though. He doesn't really do much. He's just like, I don't know, he's just pedaling away, and I'm just smacking on him and like, I'm in your boat, what you gonna do now? And then I killed him. So that was another boss. That was 2 bosses plus the bell bearing. That's 3 bosses. And I also found another catacomb in that area. And through that, I got to an Erdtree Burial Watchdog, which I believe this is my 3rd one. This one had lightning on its tail, so I guess like the flavor of this region is lightning, and now I'm part of it too, so it's okay. He was pretty, you know, I know the moveset of an Erdtree Burial Watchdog, so it wasn't too bad. This was like one of the first bosses I fought. And then I made it to a castle. I'm not sure what the castle name was. It was a small castle. In there was a like Smoo character with a big hammer and like fire coming out of his head. Very cool armor, very cool hammer, very cool enemy. I killed him. I got the hammer. I'm never going to wield this thing. So moved on, found Gelmir's Hero's Grave, and I was really unpleasantly surprised that there are more of these Hero's Graves, because we did the first one with the chariot, and this is another one with chariot, but they added lava to it. I was like, oh my, can you make it worse, please? Believe? So this one, I was really worried that that it would just be worse than the first one I did. Honestly, though, it wasn't too bad. I did get hit. I think it's because they nerfed the chariot, so I was able to get hit a few times. It was kind of cool trying to figure out, like, oh, you have to jump over the lava to like get to the safe place. And eventually, it was just all lava, and I was like, how do I do this? And I found like a ledge that you can drop off, and it felt like I was like so smart in figuring stuff out. And I found these secret chambers, which took me to a path to the rafters, which let me jump down on the chariot to ride it through the lava. That felt like, you know, a 200 IQ moment. It was amazing. It was really rewarding. And through one of those back rooms, I came across a Bloodhound Knight, which I didn't even realize until I killed and picked up his armor. I'm like, oh, this is the armor that matches my weapon. That's so cool. And then I found another chunk of armor, which was from Gelmir, the hero. So I'm like, making the lore come together. I was like, this is the dude who is the mount. I'm going to believe that the mountain was named after him. And he got killed by a Bloodhound Knight, which was like an elite assassin. And I'm an elite assassin because I can't even say the word. And then down there, we came across the boss. I was expecting another one of those like putrid trees or whatever. It turns out it was a Red Wolf of the Champion. Was not expecting that. I thought that was a one-off boss. Turns out he shows up multiple times. So he shows up here, and then I saw him again later in Nocron as a common enemy. And I'm just like, come on, we're done with dogs. Stop it. So cleared that part, and then I eventually made it to another catacomb. Found another demi-human Queen Margit. These things are so easy. I don't get damage. I don't even know what they do for an attack, and I don't want to know. I just hit until it's dead, and that's it. It did drop a jar cannon, which is like this massive cannon that you put like an artillery bolt in, and you just go like boom. I might try to use that someday because it's a really cool looking weapon, but I don't do range in these games, so I don't know how that's going to go. So I made it to the top of the mountain. I saw there's like a manor off that I want to get to, and I was trying to get to the manor the whole time. I never did, but I did make it to the top of a mountain where there was another falling star beast waiting for me, and this thing destroyed me. Like, this was the most aggressive one. So there's the one outside the capital, which still lives. There's the one that I killed inside the cave, and now there's this one. So I left this one. He just killed me too many times. And that's when I went off on my side journey to get my lightning and to eventually go to Nocron. So yeah, I went to where the Radon meteor hit, made my way down, discovered Nocron. I was expecting more from the city, and maybe I should just stop expecting things because so far I'm kind of disappointed. It's almost exactly the same as the underwater part we were at where we revived the moose. And here you get to revive another moose, the regal ancestor spirit. And I'm just like, why are you giving me this like kind of dull gameplay again, which is, oh, find the torch, light the torch. And it's the same enemies and it's the same boss. And it just feels repetitive and I don't understand why. And there was one cool enemy down here, which was called the Mimic tier. And freaking chat trolly, they're like, oh, you're about to face the weakest, like most miserable boss ever. This guy's a chump. Don't worry. If you die to this, it's an embarrassment. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to fight here that's so bad and weak? And then I encounter a character who's me. The Mimic tier is the player. And so I'm like, oh, you freaking trolly chat. You're like going to knock me like that? And anyways, the Mimic tier was kind of difficult because it was me. And I have some decent gear and stuff. And so I was seeing how to play optimally through the AI because I was like, oh my God, that's how I can play? Yeah, I'm probably never going to play that well. So I killed the Mimic tier. That was another boss. And I ended the stream after the Ancestral Spirit was done. It was, again, a beautiful fight. I love the music of the Regal Ancestor Spirit. But I'm kind of stuck in Nocron where I don't really know or have an idea of where to go from this point on. I'm just not sure where to go. It's a nice town. It's better than the capital city. But yeah, it's a little like it's just kind of a floating in the galaxy kind of city. So it's weird. I still need to make it to the manor. So I'm going to go back to Mount Gelmir and try to get into that. Because I just kind of gave up after the Falling Star Beast. But there was a lot of other paths I could have went to. So next week or today when this video drops, I will probably be trying to enter the manor and see what goes on in there. I think there's another demigod in there. But there's also Nocron, which is continuing the story of that other demigod that I'm allied with. So those are my options. And then I also have the capital city, but I'm not touching that for another while. I'd rather do these other two quests for now. So I'll keep exploring for that and I'll let you know how it goes next week. So hopefully I see you in that journal or the next stream. And until next time, keep it classy. Do 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 do. Subscribe.